Good morning. We're just going to get right to it. 9 a.m. Nothing like a little time for natural law. Mark Passio's natural law seminar, part 28. I mean, it's taken a while to get here, and I appreciate anyone who's come along for the ride. I'm pretty sure this is where we left off. This is where we pick up.
True freedom includes infinite possibility because infinite possibility, by definition, includes the possibility for chaos. For real freedom to exist, we have to accept, hey, things might not go right all the time. We live in a physical domain, a physical world. Hey, there could be dangers, you know? Nothing could ever be sanitized or made completely safe as far as physical world activities are concerned. There's always going to be the possibility something could happen, go wrong, somebody could get hurt, chaos could happen. Okay? If you live in that state of fear that that's going to happen, what is that? Is that high consciousness or low consciousness? It's low consciousness. Low consciousness can only create what? Chaos. The fear of chaos itself can only get you more chaos because it's based in fear. As we see, just keep referring to that expression chart, you know?
Oh, I honest to God should call my honey in here. We needed to make an arrangement to do something this morning. And unfortunately, she's like afraid to ask. And I should put her on Front Street. I wish she could come in here because that was what? Yep, so I'm busy. I had to shaft all of you because I've been that busy. But I always got time to help my honey. And she's afraid to ask. And it was weird. And I was like, you get rid of that. Just tell me what you need. Well, and it's not about telling. It's about being brave enough to know where you stand with something and go, hey, you got to do what you got to do. And I think this point on fear is very valid.
As we see, just keep referring to that expression chart, you know? Go online. I have slides of it online. It's in videos I've done. Print it. Read it. Look at it. Print it and stick it up in your home.
Now, I got to stop. I'll be right back. You have no idea, but I'm sorry. It's been a bit. I had to go in and have a conversation because, yeah, fear is not a good motivator. It appears it doesn't get us anything that we're really looking for.
Understand how that chart works. You know, those expressions that I went over, those 10 expressions. The possibility, okay, of chaos from manifesting, the possibility that it may manifest has to be embraced without fear if we're going to be truly free. It must be embraced. You have to say, I am going to allow for the possibility that chaos may occur.
It's what I try to explain this about Florida. I'm like, I really like it, but there's crazy. And I think the opportunity for crazy is going to arise anywhere more freedoms exist. And the weather, the environment, the atmosphere, the entire location, it's a lot of freedom and a life to be had when I'm down there. But lots of crazy. And it turns out that the more you can enjoy life, the more the immoral and unethical will exploit life. And I guess you would have to be prepared to deal with that as it comes. But I mean, yeah, it's going to exist. The argument never goes away. I mean, the more freedom we get, there's more freedom for psychopaths to enact their activities on us. So, I mean, it's tough.
Without fear, if we're going to be truly free. It must be embraced. You have to say, I am going to allow for the possibility that chaos may occur. Because that's getting out of the consciousness of fear. which that's what will lead to freedom. Removing that fear. The fear of the possibility of chaos is actually equated to the fear of true freedom. When somebody says, I can't ever believe that a system with no masters could work out, I can't even envision how it could work out. What's that called? What's been deadened in that person? What have they lost? Imagination. There it is. That is actually the equivalent of the death of the imagination.
At this point, it would be fair to send you to South Park, Imagination Land. I believe they won some Emmys for that. I could be wrong. I'm not that kind of fan. It's a two-parter, but I think the ending speech, the ideas, the the scene, the Saving Private Ryan scene with the cartoon characters, and God, is that Ronald McDonald carrying his arm blown off? Ooh, it's hardcore. But that episode actually explains it. I believe it was an indictment of 9/11, ripping on a failure of imagination, even though they had written scenarios that mimicked the events. It was a failure of imagination. We couldn't imagine that happening. Oh, you could plan it to carry it out on someone else, but your hubris didn't allow that attack to be turned on yourself. I find that interesting.
That is actually the equivalent.
But damn good episode. I'd go check that shit out. I think it'd be like, you want a side adventure, you want a side quest, go watch South Park's Imagination Land right now, then come back and see if it all works.
Imagination.
Oh, I bet it does.
There it is. That is actually the equivalent of the death of the imagination. Now, what is the imagination? The imagination is the powerful ability of the human mind to envision a different state or condition than the one which is already manifested in the present. So imagination must first be present in the mind in order to create a different state of existence than the one currently being experienced. And this is because, according to the principle of mentalism, for any different state to manifest in the physical world, the plane of effects, it must first exist within the mind or the plane of causality. If the imagination is stifled or destroyed, and the destruction of the imagination is what I refer to as total mind control. You can't go into any more total mind controlled state as the imagination being dead. All right? If that happens, any...
We'll go back, I'm sorry, because this really makes me think of the individuals that claim they have no thoughts in their head anymore. No inner monologue, no ideas. If you don't have an inner monologue, then you're probably not contemplating new ideas or different things. The Imagination Land episode is important right now.
Manifest in the physical world, the plane of effects, it must first exist within the mind or the plane of causality. If the imagination is stifled or destroyed, and the destruction of the imagination is what I refer to as total mind control. You can't go into any more total mind controlled state as the imagination being dead. All right? If that happens, any positive change to our state of existence becomes completely impossible. And this is where many people are already at. The fear of the possibility of chaos is more than even the fear of true freedom. It is the death of the imagination. It is putting the mind permanently in the cage. Okay? So you can't let that force within us called the imagination die, because that's the only way to envision a way out of the prison. You have to envision it first, then you have to put those thoughts and emotions that you used for that envisioning process into actual action so that it becomes manifested in the physical world. Through their fear of the possibility of chaos, which is actually the fear of true freedom, most people advocate the legitimacy and continuance of authority in government and are therefore actually advocating the legitimacy and continuance of violence and slavery. Those who believe that authority is necessary and that it must continue because of this fear of chaos have actually been duped into believing that human slavery is necessary. And
I admit, this is where I continue to fall apart. Then I guess putting down psychopaths is a necessary component of the human condition. So then, okay, because you can't let the immoral run wild on society and hurt them. Let's say they're not enslaving them, they're just exploiting them and taking from them. Well, I couldn't allow to watch that if it was all things being equal. Right now, the corrupt have order followers to protect them, rewrite statistics to help them, come out on the right side of things. And I constantly wonder, it's like, I don't know what kind of society we'd have if we had freedom, because we would constantly have to address the immoral, right? And then we would have to have personal authority to deal with that. You can't just let them get away with it. It keeps creating what we already have. So that's the part. It's not that I can't imagine freedom. I can't imagine freedom with methed out assholes living 2 doors down robbing me. I can't imagine that working. So do I just go take care of that? The lead poisoning, it works itself out, because I can't constantly have to be building up walls against them. Right? It's a tough spot to be in, when the weak and willing to exploit have more ability to do so than the good and moral have abilities to protect themselves. So, once again, it's not that I believe we gotta have government or authority, and I certainly don't want slavery, but I see that we're not allowed to put down the immoral. So then what is it? The immoral are gonna win? Is it freedom for the immoral and everybody else is just a zombie who has to be done away with so we can all hump and fuck and do drugs out in the parks? I just don't, just trying to figure out where order and ability and growth, where that all comes from. Because we've never seen anybody who wants to change the world for free. It turns out that ain't in the game plan, is it? You see all kinds of poor individuals and people with nothing who think the rich should change the world for free. But you've never seen the powerful just give it all away. I mean, no one's saved anything yet. So we must not be close to that ever happening. So it's certainly not going to be taking from the elites and giving it to the non-elites. I'm pretty sure it'll just be mass slavery for everyone, and then those with money can buy their way out of it. Once again, how do we put down those immoral pieces of shit that think that's okay? I could buy my way into freedom, not you poors. Wow, come into the back alley and tell me how that works out, you and me alone. Come have that discussion with me as a single person. Find out how far those ideas fly. Oh, but somehow, see, so I think authority sides with the moneyed. And I don't like that idea. Because money don't make you better. It just gives you more money. It don't make you a good person in any way, shape, or form.
Manifest in the physical world, the plane of effects, it must first exist within the mind or the plane of causality. If the imagination is stifled or destroyed, and the destruction of the imagination is what I refer to as total mind control. You can't go into any more total mind-controlled state as the imagination being dead. All right? If that happens, any positive change to our state of existence becomes completely impossible. And this is where many people are already at. The fear of the possibility of chaos is more than even the fear of true freedom. It is the death of the imagination.
Okay, and I'm just to let it go because I've harped enough. But I guess I want the horrible conflict to take place. I'm tired of waiting around to see if it's the moral or immoral that win. Now, I would never instigate or bring on. I don't want to be the starter, the catalyst of anything. But I am definitely frustrated enough that I'm just like tired. I need some sort of change. This slow drip from the willingly enslaved is not cutting it.
It is putting the mind permanently in the cage. Okay? So you can't let that force within us called the imagination die, because that's the only way to envision a way out of the prison. You have to envision it first, then you have to put those thoughts and emotions that you used for that envisioning process into actual action so that it becomes manifested in the physical world. Through their fear of the possibility of chaos, which is actually the fear of true freedom, most people advocate the legitimacy and continuance of authority in government and are therefore actually advocating the legitimacy and continuance of violence and slavery. Those who believe that authority is necessary and that it must continue because of this fear of chaos have actually been duped into believing that human slavery is necessary. And get this, folks, human slavery must therefore continue in order to prevent chaos. Now imagine that. Imagine that. That's what statism is, though. That's what the religion called the belief in government or statism is. It is the belief that human slavery is necessary and must continue indefinitely in order to prevent chaos from manifesting.
Yeah, so my only difference is a society that doesn't admit I get to put down my transgressors. If I'm not allowed to do it, someone's got to take care of it. Because they can't transgress against me. The problem is those who are willing to take theft. Okay? I was on the other side of this for too long. Guilty. Admittedly so. But I do admit that this one strikes a nerve because I'm in the. I don't want us to be enslaved. But as an ex-con who lived in prison, I know what happens when people are left to do whatever they want. It does not work out well for the weak. This is one of the dilemmas, is that the weak really get victimized. And is it a society of weaklings? That really is what I'm afraid of. I can handle everybody at the gym. They're all strong, determined, willing, able. I can deal with them on a very good level. We have many things in common, and we both have the abilities to speak our mind. Those who look from the outside in, coveting what the power that they have in that gym, now, they're not there to be exploited. But it's the problem is when the weak do the exploiting. See, it's so fucking confusing because I don't believe if you gave everybody freedom, I guess if there's all free drugs for them. But as an ex-addict, I just wonder what we do with the addicts and the users, the abusers, the psychopaths. And there's not an answer in this section for that. There's just, it's going to happen. Well, then I'm afraid of having to put down all kinds of people to live free. But I certainly couldn't live free if I had to take and fucking carry their weight too. At least now I don't got a choice because an asshole with a gun steals it from me. If left to my own devices, I would not have the patience for shit. Because I'd want to move forwards, not stay in the same place worrying about Jim Bob sitting under the fucking tree drinking shine. Fuck him. He's been banging his cousin for years. I don't have any respect for them.
Now, tell me how that could possibly work. Can violence and slavery, which is actually what government is a euphemism for, statism and government are just euphemisms for violence and slavery. Okay? Can violence and slavery ever possibly prevent chaos? Why? What? Why can't it? Because they are chaos. Violence and slavery are chaos. We are already in the state of chaos. Being held under the threat of violence and duress, which is slavery, is the state of chaos. So forget about fearing chaos coming on. You're in it now. Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
See, I get that.
Hate to break the news to you all.
No, I got it. The first,
okay.
No, the thing is this is the first time through, the third time through, this time through. I come up with the same problems. I think I've had the same problems from the beginning. Is how do you rally behind good ideas to create better, to manifest better realities when motivation levels are so different between people? You can't make them. I'm not saying that. But do they get to just wait for the dribbles too? My problem keeps coming up with those who brag about any handout allows them to live harder on the street. You give me a little bit, all the free dope I want, I'm going to do this. I mean, is that it? Do you just have to create a world where people get to get high until they die? Give them boxes to go drop a, suicide, fuck the channel again. Suicide boost a la Futurama. I don't understand how that fucking show can go on TV, but over on YouTube, if I make a reference to the suicide box for Futurama, it goes against the channel's algorithmic flow. God, I've hated that from the beginning. That words somehow the words are too much for some listeners. Oh my God, they had to find a different. Beep that out, I'm safe. God, it frustrates the hell out of me. We'll be watching content, and every word that matters in the context of the story is beeped out. And I'm like, why are they telling the story then? Wait, just to get revenue? Just to get clicks? Just to get money? And they're not any better or worse than the entire system set up to steal from each other. And then I'm back to stage 0 where I don't... What direction do we go when everyone's happy exploiting themselves or exploiting others? Never a system designed. If you want to help everybody equally. God damn, I cannot see the lowest scumbag living in filth is equal to the person who's trying and digging in every day. I can't see them as the same people. And the problem is we have those who desire to live in filth. Now, according to what I'm learning here, I'm supposed to just look the other way, I guess. But how long do you look the other way until you legitimize that behavior? Oh, shit, we're already there. So how do we fix this, legitimize the worst of behaviors? It's certainly not going to be a one-sided protest against one group exploiting another. It's a much grander scale than that, isn't it? There's no answer. None. Yeah, it's tough.
We're already in the state of chaos. We need to create real order by getting rid of violence and slavery. Order followers. These are the people who keep this system of slavery in place. Okay? They're the people who keep this system of slavery in place. Let me just say this again. Order followers are the people who keep the existence of slavery in place. Not the ruling class, not the masters, not the so-called elite, which aren't the elite of anything but the bottom of a trash can. Okay?
No. Hey,
The
see,
people.
that's why I use the monetary value as not as worthwhile as it seems. Because everyone, hey, my supercar, it's a car. My mansion, it's a house. Shelter from the storm. Transportation, shelter, it's all the same. You can cover it in gold. It doesn't make you any better. It just makes you weird that you want shit covered in gold. And then I understand my biggest dilemma comes in with the order followers. It really does. Because well, let's say you're king of the, your rat king living in feces has tons of people that idolize him. Well, now he's got all these order followers and they get to impose their filthy habits on everyone or spread it to impressionable people who you're trying to maybe help have a better future and manifest a better reality, but all they get to see is Rat King and his order followers. You end up going, well, I need some troops too. And then the cycle starts all over. It's tough. It's tough that you can't have that two-person conversation, as it's been brought up many times, where if you try the ideas between just two people sitting down talking, they don't fly. And that's the dilemma. I guess I'd have to learn to make peace with the Rat King.
Bottom of a trash can.
That's tough.
Okay? The people who keep slavery in place are the people who willfully follow their orders. Nobody wants to hear that.
I do not do that.
And people will hate you for saying it. Following orders means, by definition, doing what you are told to do without judging for yourself whether or not that action that you are being ordered to carry out.
It happened to me the other day because I've been bartending and running a little something during the football games, and I'm like, that's in the legally gray, right? That kind of. And I said, I'm not willing. I said, I make other choices that because I can't smoke the doobie in the parking lot openly, I can't help you run a little gambling, right? I draw this line where I got to be like, hey, no, it's not my thing, and you say no, and saying no is a powerful tool.
Out is actually right or wrong. That's the definition of following orders. I mean, can anybody refute that? Is that not the actual definition of following someone else's order? By definition, if you're following the order, you're given the order and then you just act. You just do it because you're following the order. You don't sit there and go, is what that person told me to do right? Do I have a right to do that? Is that moral?
All the time.
Should I do that because, it's okay and it doesn't hurt somebody else? Or should I not do that because it actually does cause harm? It's not what an order follower does in their mind.
No, they just
an order follower says, yes, sir, and follows the...
Excuse me. It came up another time at work. I tried to explain how I work for the house. And I work for the house by making decisions that would benefit the owner or the establishment or the clientele coming in. The byproduct of making those decisions is a paycheck. Damn good check over the last few months. Um, but he looked at me like he didn't quite understand. And I'm like, well, I'm not here for the paycheck. Order followers are there for the payday. Well, they're whores. They're just prostituting violence, not flesh. But they're just selling out their violence to the highest bidder. The badge and costume doesn't make them not mercenaries. They're just mercenaries. And there's my dilemma. There's always mercenaries to hire who will hurt people for a drip, for that dribble. So I mean, it is a big problem, and my dilemma is that everyone, whether there's a government control system or place, tries. I think gang culture would be the example. So let's say you get rid of government control systems. How do you deal with the gang culture that's already hierarchy based, turf controlling, ownership, protecting systems? They wouldn't just go away. Government, hey, they're in Chicago. They're telling the government, fuck off, come get some. I'm hoping that one kicks off. As much as I'd hate to see it, I would love to see it. Because I know it's not the trap shooting pheasant hunters from the North Woods here that are a problem. They're fine. They got no time to worry about anybody else's problems. They certainly haven't organized into posses and hunt each other down for sport. We've got some big problems in society. That ain't no lie.
The order. That's why it's called an order follower. That's why it's called following an order. So that's the definition of what an order follower is. It's not my perception of what an order follower is. It's the actual definition of order following. Okay? If an individual, this is key to understand, if an individual is performing the task of following orders, by definition, that individual cannot be exercising conscience. Since, by definition, exercising conscience means that one is willfully choosing through their free will for themselves right action over wrong action.
Yeah, okay.
So the concept of following orders is completely polar opposite to the concept of exercising conscience. You cannot be doing the same things simultaneously. It's impossible to do those two things simultaneously. They are contradictions in terms by definition. Okay? Most people don't grasp that. Okay? By definition, if you're following orders, you cannot be actually exercising conscience, which involves free will choice based on the knowledge of right and wrong. Here's what order following gets us as far as a nation is concerned. Not that we're not already there, not that these people already didn't take us. Because we're taken by them already, covertly. They took us through the school systems. They couldn't beat us militarily. So they said, well, let's send our ideologues over there and get into the minds of their children. And if you don't believe that's what happened, you're very, very, very naive. Not only the Nazis, but the communists as well. Because really, it's all just forms of socialism.
Same thing. They're authoritarian regimes. The idea you got to put them into categories is the problem. It's like who wants what kink. Who cares? Who cares what their personal fetishes are? They're about control. The idea that everybody divides up into camps, hating on the one they don't like, but then protecting the ones they do. This is where I can get dragged right back into Marx's rhetoric and the seminar. I definitely, the ex-con in me doesn't like authoritarian control systems and lock cages. I can leave at any time. I can do whatever I want. I choose all the choices I make right now. I choose myself. And I make sure people know that. It comes up all the time. They're like, you're always here. You're doing this. I mean, don't you want to? And I'm like, no, if I wanted to be somewhere else, I'd be somewhere else. I'm trying really hard to create something. And some of it has to do with effort, action. And then some of it has to do with a mindset that says, screw what all these people think. I can do this. I can succeed. I don't care what anybody else tells me I can or can't do. And honestly, succeeding in spite of the hurdles in front of me. So, I mean, I'm not. Trust me, they keep wondering why I don't take out some loans and buy this place for the amount of time that I'm there. And it's not that could be possible. You know, but I know what it's taken is instead of just doing what I was told and resenting the whole thing, I had to willingly engage in wanting to manifest a new reality there, thinking about it, creating action, removing the hurdles that are in place to stop it from happening, and then watching it grow. And none of that come from someone else's ideas. It come from my own. So I do understand all this. I just feel that the totalitarian regimes represent the consistent end game for any group of strong individuals who collaborate on their own success. Yeah.
That's what feudalism is. Worldwide socialism is there's no such thing as private property. State owns everything. Rights don't exist. Property rights don't exist. Everybody's a feudal serf again. It's called neo-feudalism. I don't care which branch you come at it from. You want to come at it from the left, that's called communism. You want to come at it from the right, that's called National Socialism. Communism is international socialism. They're both the same force. It's called feudalism. Let's just call it what it is. It's called feudalism, which is in itself just another euphemism for slavery.
There's my dilemma, because so I don't want any more than the little part I can maintain. Okay? But then the problem is those who want it all. Now, is that a moral position to take? Can you cause harm by wanting to have it all? Then we would have to take care of those psychopaths and those coveters from an early stage. They couldn't be allowed to gain power. But then aren't we stifling their freedom? This is where it gets so gray to me. Because there's always someone who covets other people's shit and thinks they deserve it. That same person won't come to a stand-up guy in the back alley and discuss that thing because they know they get their ass handed to them because their ideas wouldn't fly. So they get order. See, it's same cycle always.
Neo-feudalism, which is the new world order of slavery. Okay? And it's already here. It's not something that's coming. It's here now. The object is to get out of it. This is the result of following orders. That's what following orders gets to society. Following orders should never be seen as a virtue. Following orders is evil. I don't care whether you're, I don't care if somebody who is considered a holy man gives me an order and I follow it, I've just committed an act of evil, as far as I'm concerned. If I'm acting based on solely what somebody else has told me to do, that's evil. There's no morality in it at all. At all. At all.
And I think he's being very firm here, because if that person was trying to get you to follow let's say managerial order, request, change it to word to request for aid or help. So, in noble pursuits, there's still orders to be followed. Now, you, if so needed, can call them suggestions. I don't know. But in the end, there's still going to be orders to be followed, directions, edicts, demands. Is it a problem with language at this moment? Because if a request is moral, righteous, and good, wouldn't it be within your couldn't you still be free but engage in following those orders to a better end? Now, you see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not, got to go back to suggestion to change the discussion. Because you would think about it, right? Is it a moral request? Am I doing harm? Oh, gosh, I could do that for you.
There's no morality in it at all. At all. At all. It's not a virtue. It's evil. Okay? Let me just make that so abundantly clear and state it so unequivocally. There's no such thing as any possible moral following of orders.
Well, see,
the two terms are...
I understand. So I guess you have to call it a suggestion, but I've definitely... let's say the villages needed, oh, I hate to do this part, but I want to see how I think. The villages needed to protect itself from the encroaching floods. Jim Bob and his cousin, who basically fool around under that tree all day doing meth, they're not able to make any decisions. I need to get them on the sandbag team. Otherwise, the Northeast Dike is going to fail and we're going to all lose everything. I'm middle messenger on the team. I don't know how to cover it. I mean, how do you... Gosh, does everybody lose everything because we can't get Jim Bob and his skanky cousin to work? And that's okay? That's covered by natural law too? So be it. Couldn't get the village, so you get to fail? Or do I have to work twice as hard to save Jim Bob and his skanky cousin's life? Gosh, and am I a bad person for contemplating this? But at a certain point, there's got to be morally, ethically sound directions given to people, and them following them hopefully would be automatically seeing the high road and taking it. Otherwise, if we're not, so I guess secretly I have a socialistic side because I just don't want to see, God, as much as I hate Jim Bob and his skanky cousin, I kind of think they deserve to live. I don't respect their lifestyle choices, but who am I to snuff them out if they don't transgress? Yeah, my imagination struggles finding answers for these some of these scenarios.
Contradictory, all right? I was just following orders is never a valid excuse or justification for immoral criminal behavior, and this lame attempt to abdicate personal responsibility should never be accepted as a valid excuse for such behavior. And why it's done is through justification. And again, that means to create a right, from jus, meaning right or law, and the Latin verb facere, which means to make.
So my problem is, I think something he brought up way earlier, and I can't remember, But it's that trying to. I'm just trying to figure out the stumbling blocks that are in way to make the mirrored image of this come true. How do we manifest something good for everyone, so people don't have to suffer and be enslaved. And I keep coming up against the wall of individuals who hate progress. And I could be one of them because I don't want the robots to take over. Creates all its own problems. Oh my goodness. It's tough contemplating what could or should be, what might come to pass if this, that, or the other is attempted.
Or to create. And this is what they say. I was just following orders. I was just doing my job. I was shutting down your protest. You don't have a right to speak. The politicians commanded me so. So I just came out and I was just doing my job.
Now, this does date it in a way because at this point, protesters seemed like they were trying to get a voice heard for change. We now know in the timeline that technically, as he pointed out, there was agitators, Black Bloc paid to cause strife, and that a lot of the protesters aren't protesters at all. They are paid agitators to create a new authoritarian system.
Hitting you with a sound cannon. You know, just doing my job, just following my orders. It's a justification. You're a criminal.
Those same paid agitators destroying stores, mom and pop operations that have been around for years because their leaders told them to. It works on both sides. What we know now is the protesters had their own order following force to cause chaos and shake up the system. So I'm just saying, it comes from government and it comes from NGOs.
There's nothing moral in that. There's nothing virtuous in that. It's called criminal behavior, criminal activity. And what they do is try to create it into a right, make it into a right by a justification. And nobody should ever accept their justifications. Because you know what their justifications is? You know what they are? It's called a 100% crock of bull that is a complete lie. It's a lie. They're just straight up looking you in the face and saying, I'm not responsible for that. I just did it, but I'm not the one who's responsible for it because I was acting on orders. Well, see, this defense didn't work as the Nuremberg defense, and nobody in America should be accepting it. Nobody in America should be accepting it because they believe in the legitimacy of authority and government through mind control. That's what they believe it. They believe there's legitimacy to it. Most people actually believe that there's legitimacy to this criminal behavior because...
There. All of my bullshit aside, I definitely don't believe that. I just find the starting point for answers or just discussion difficult to find because it's so tainted with this topic, with the control system topics. There's my struggle because I get it. The person who was locking me in, it wasn't his fault. He was just following orders. But he represented a cog in the machine used to control me. So, I mean, I did get to see all this shit firsthand. And, you know, I had to be honest. I didn't hurt a single normie. I just robbed other criminals. Trust me, there was times I felt like I didn't even deserve punishment. I didn't do nothing to you normies. I actually operated in a world that took you as not existing. You weren't the thing. There was all kinds of bad people who deserved what was coming to them. I just picked them. The normies just existed as an anonymous blob to ignore because I didn't exist in your world. I didn't really want you to exist in mine. You know, And I was like, yeah, who did I wrong? What, other criminals? Fuck them. We don't care. It don't matter. We all chose immoral paths. That's why I get so confused, because I know we exist. I know there's those that will use force to get what they want.
A class of people calling themselves government have magically been imbued and gifted with such rights, quote unquote. They believe they have rights other people don't. They themselves believe it, but worse is that the people who are actually affected by that criminal behavior, they believe they have the authority to do it. Gandhi said, "You assist an evil system most effectively by obeying its orders and decrees. An evil system never deserves such allegiance. Allegiance to it means partaking of the evil. A good person will resist an evil system with his or her whole soul," which means saying no. Moral culpability.
To get brought back to the current moment and maybe wrap this up, no is a powerful tool. Yeah, I think I'll come back with part 29, and we'll just get a couple of them here for today. Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar, part 3 of 3. We're almost 9. I think we're almost 4 hours and 46, 5 hours and 46 minutes in, it looks like. Now, part 28 here. And yes, long-winded, ranty, probably not making it easy to follow. As always, I recommend go check it out on your own. Probably go give a little love to Mark's way. Let him know you discovered him and you're into maybe something he's talking about. Hopefully, now let's just get back with part 29 and go from there. I'll see you there.